You are listening to the Yavornitskiy Code podcast that was created to commemorate 170 years from the birth of Dmytro Yavornitskiy, a prominent Ukrainian historian, a chronicler of Zaporozhian Cossacks, and a keeper of the national memory. This project is implemented by local and cultural society DIYA, that means activation, with the support of the Ukrainian Cultural Foundation. Media partner is D1 TV channel. Dmytro Yavornitskiy, collector and keeper of Ukrainian heritage. Imagine a person who devoted his life both to collect ancient things and to rescue soul of a nation. Imagine a person who was looking for traces of history everywhere, in shards of pottery, in an ornament on a trunk, in a forgotten song written down when listening to an elderly Kobzarka, itinerant Ukrainian bard lady who sang to her own accompaniment. For this person, every little thing mentioned was part of a big mosaic, and this person wanted to get that mosaic together in order to show it to the whole world. Here it is, authentic Ukraine with its roots, heroic style, beauty, and memory. This person was Dmytro Yavornitskiy. In this episode, we are going to tell you about Dmytro Yavornitskiy as an archaeologist, an ethnographer, a folklorist, and a museum curator, the person who managed to accomplish almost impossible things: to collect, to keep, and to defend cultural heritage which Russian imperial authorities tried to reduce to dust. Dmytro Ivanovich Yavornitskiy is undoubtedly one of the most prominent researchers of Zaporozhian Cossacks history. Withal, he went down in Ukrainian history as one of the first popularizers of the archaeological heritage of Ukrainian lands. He obtained wide recognition as a field researcher, as a member of archaeological societies in Russian Empire, and as an initiator of important scientific events and large-scale archaeological excavations. Dmytro Yavornitskiy took part in almost 1,000 archaeological sites on the territory of Nadnipranshchina, a historical region in the central part of Ukraine, situated in the valley of Dnipro River. Also, they did archaeological excavations in Crimea, in Caucasus, and Kuban, and even in Central Asia. He researched burial grounds of different ages, including ancient times, Samaritan age, and Zaporozhian Cossacks age. However, his contribution was not limited to archaeological excavations. Dmytro Yavornitskiy actually popularized archaeology. He gave public lectures, published information on outcomes of archaeological excavations, emphasized the importance of archaeology as a source of national historical memory. He is the author of the book Public Lectures on Archaeology, which became the first textbook on archaeology in Russian Empire. Dmytro Yavornitskiy devoted himself to archaeology. He worked hard in difficult conditions, risking his health quite often. During the excavations, he often suffered injuries. According to his diaries, he had his arms fractured 7 times. Once there was a landslide and he was covered with soil. It was a miracle he came out safe and sound. Along with archaeology, Dmytro Yavornitskiy was engaged in ethnography, which studies life, culture, and apprehension of a nation. The expedition destinations included Central and Eastern Ukraine, Azov, Upland, and Crimea, and Central Asia. He considered songs, legends, customs, rites, and crafts as sources which are able to provide as much information about a nation as chronicles do. He was interested the most in the region where there used to be Zaporozhian siege lands. His academic ethnographic work, Ukrainian common people in their songs, fairy tales, sayings, and rites, was published in 1920. Dmytro Yavornitskiy gave his special attention to kobzars, itinerant Ukrainian bards who sang to their own accompaniment, since they kept memories of glorious past of Ukraine. Kobzars often gave their performances at the Historic Museum, and Yavornitskiy helped them with accommodation and employment, and he even accommodated them at his own house. Dmytro Yavornitskiy is considered to be the first scholar who started to collect and popularize Petrykivka paintings, a traditional Ukrainian decorative painting style, bright flower pattern ornaments that originated in Dnipro region of Ukraine. First, Petrykivka paintings was used to decorate houses and household items. Later, it also included ornamental painting on paper. Nowadays, Petrykivka painting is one of the cultural symbols of Ukraine, and it is included in the representative list on the intangible cultural heritage of humanity by UNESCO. During his life, Dmytro Yavornitskiy accomplished dozens of archaeological and ethnographic expeditions, traveled through all of Ukraine looking for historical sites and records. He was a keen antiques collector. First, he collected items for his own collection, and then he handed it on to the Katerinoslav Historical Museum, which was set up by his initiative. In 1902, Dmytro Yavornitskiy became a curator of that museum and was in charge of it for over 30 years. During his management, the museum has got the richest collection of items. It contained over 80,000 exhibits. There were set up different public display areas on archaeology, ethnography, numismatics, arts, manners, and customs of Ukrainians, and weaponry. Indeed, as a historian of Zaporozhian Cossacks, Dmytro Yavornitskiy directed special attention to creation of an exhibition which was dedicated to Zaporozhian Cossacks. That collection contained swords, pipes, hetman insignia, attributes of power, seals, maps, Cossack outfits, personal belongings of Cossack leaders, and unique documents. Unfortunately, not all the items of the Yavornitskiy collection have been preserved to this date. The Historical Museum, which Dmytro Yavornitskiy established and was in charge of for a long time, suffered depredation time and again during World War I and World War II and during Bolshevik invasion. Moreover, Soviet authorities transferred some exhibits to other museums, and it resulted in splitting of valuable collections. To preserve Ukrainian cultural heritage in all its manifestation was a true meaning of life for Dmytro Yavornitskiy. In 1917, he was one of the founders of the Katerinoslav Society for the Protection of Historical and Cultural Monuments and Sites. During challenging years of the World War I and Soviet occupation of Ukraine, Dmytro Yavornitskiy on several occasions defended the museum from depredation, risking his own life. He also tried to prevent destruction of all churches, archives, and houses. Thus, Dmytro Yavornitskiy was not just a scientist. He became the symbol of purposeful and selfless battle for Ukrainian history and culture. His life work includes archaeology, ethnography, museology, history of Zaporozhian Cossacks, folk art, folklore, and education. Due to his efforts, tens of thousands of artifacts were preserved for descendants, and significant part of Ukrainian cultural heritage was comprehended and presented to the whole world. His works are topical nowadays when Ukraine has to stand for her culture, for it not to be destroyed. Legacy of Dmytro Yavornitskiy is not just his scientific work, but an example of how love to your nation and responsibility before its history can change the future.